Good afternoon. Thank you, Kamala. You know, when I look out over what happened the last 50 days, when Jill and I first got a chance to move into this magnificent building behind you, I promised the American people, and I guess it's becoming an overused phrase, that help was on the way. But today, with the American Rescue Plan now signed into law, we've delivered on that promise. And I don't mean I've delivered, we've delivered. Look out there and all of you. Patty, there'd still be people, kids in poverty, were it not for all the work you did all those years. And I want to say to Bernie, stepping up and making the case why this was so transformational made a big difference in how a lot of people voted. I look out at all of you, House members as well, who have made the case to the American people why this is so important. I watched my buddy Jim down in South Carolina stand up and talk about how it's going to affect individual people. My inclination is to mention every single one of you, because I think I've called most of you and thanked you already for what you did. I even called Pallone. He wasn't there, though. He was on the other side of the river. We joke all the time. He's in New Jersey. I'm in Delaware. I keep reminding him Delaware owns the Delaware River up to the high water mark in New Jersey. But all kidding aside, I want to thank you all. I want to thank particularly the Speaker, who from day one, from the very first day I got the nomination, was supportive in ways that are hard for me to describe. And, you know, I served a long time in the United States Senate, longer than anybody if I was still there at the time other than Pat. And if I were still in the Senate, I'd be Senator Pro Tem, because I was 2 years ahead of Pat. But all kidding aside, we've served with a lot of great majority leaders. But I never saw anybody handle such a controversial, consequential piece of legislation that was right on the edge than Chuck Schumer. I owe you, Chuck. You did an incredible job. And look, and to the members of the House and Senate, thanks for making this happen. You made it happen. As I said, I served 36 years in the Senate. I know how hard it is to pass major consequential legislation, particularly when we only have such minor, small majorities in both houses, Steny. You've done an incredible job. And Nancy and Chuck, I have to say that I agree with many of the columnists that have commented on this legislation. What you shepherded through the Congress not only meets the moment, it does even more. It's historical, and they call it transformational, and it really is. The bill was supported overwhelmingly by the American people, Democrats, independents, and Republicans, and had a strong support of governors and mayors across the country in both parties, red states and blues. Over 430 mayors contacted me, many of them Republicans supporting the bill. And here's why. Because what you all did with it and the refinements you made, it directly addressed the emergency in this country. Because it focuses on what people need most. Debbie and I often talked about, you got to tell people in plain, simple, straightforward language what it is you're doing to help. You've got to be able to tell a story. Tell the story of what you're about to do and why it matters. Because it's going to make a difference in the lives of millions of people in very concrete, specific ways. This legislation, everybody's already mentioned, will provide $1,400 in direct payments, which we all promised. Well, that means for a typical family of four, a middle-class family, husband and wife working, making $110,000 a year, that means $5,600 check they're going to get. 85% of the households in America will be getting this money.